has become quite clear for businesses that customer satisfaction is a key to achieving success in your industry. However, improving customer experience starts with using data analytics services effectively. You need to analyze both customer activity and market trends to ensure your business can adapt its product and services to better suit its customers. Therefore, it is time for your business to start emphasizing operational rather than consumer focused processes when implementing analytics. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Analytics Insight podcast, where we talk about the ever evolving tech space. And I'm your host, Priya Dialani. In today's business context, it is very imperative that businesses access real time data with total transparency into customer behavior as well as business processes so that the business owners can monitor their day to day operations, based on which they can take the necessary actions to improve customer satisfaction and even the bottom line. So, today, let's welcome Mr. Vinay Tamboli, Chief Executive Officer, Data and Insights at LS Digital. Hi, Vinay, how are you doing?
Yeah, hi Priya. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm doing good. How about you?
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm doing good too, Vinay. And it's a pleasure to have you with us on a podcast likewise. So I think my basic introduction gave a gist of what we are going to talk about today. It's more about operational analytics. So before we dive deeper into those aspects, let's start by basically telling us what exactly is LS Digital. Its specific solutions or specialization it deals into.
Yeah, sure, Priya. So, LS Digital is a company which is founded by Prasad Shezai, who is from IIT Madras engineering background. So he founded something around 2006 and primarily focusing on the digital marketing aspect. Okay, so digital marketing is today very vast. Like it covers like a lot of aspect, like right from your website to like getting the traffic and then creative and then many ads, so many things there, right? So with this, like today we are about 1,200 people, and while we doing the digital marketing piece there, we actually hit COVID in 2020, right? That is a time actually the world realized the power of doing the business digitally, right? And at that point of time, like not just the digital marketing piece, but then many brands come to us to do a lot of other things to set up their D2C business, that is directly connecting with the consumer setup, to do the business digital. What we realize, like while doing that kind of work, that we are not just doing the digital marketing thing, but we are actually doing the transformation of their businesses. So if you ask me today what LS Digital is doing, so I can proudly say that we are into the digital business transformation space, and then we are doing that thing at multiple places, at multiple brands and multiple industries.
Great, thank you for sharing that, Vinay. And I think with the evolving modern landscape, it is so important to be digitally equipped and to be digitally capable in terms of handling the complexities that come with these modern challenges. So I think transforming and helping businesses transform digitally is very essential in today's business landscape. Moving ahead, we would also like to know more about you, Vinay. So I think you have a career which spans over 24 years and you have worked in both domestic and international markets, and you have a wide exposure in terms of different cultures and mindsets. So, can you also tell us a bit about yourself, your journey till date, probably, and what led you to focus on operation and analytics?
Yeah, sure, Priya. Yeah. So so I started my career as a software programmer, and then eventually moved to the business side. Worked with brands like Tata Infotech and then IBM and Borland Software and Microsoft there, right? And of course, like I was part of the incubation center of IIT Madras for some time there. So while working with the brands like Tata Infotech, IBM, Borland, Microsoft, etc., got a lot of experience about like the product based, the services based, or the mix of both there, right? Predominantly, like the experience which I gained around the SAP implementation, and which is like typically, if you know the SAP, which is the ERP software, which helps to build something on the organization operations part, right? Like so there are so many activities happening across the organization. They are into silos, and then the ERPs like SAP, they help to get these things together, and that has actually helped the brands to transform themselves. So for example, in SAP's case, like today, suppose there is a purchase order coming in a manufacturing segment. um, they exactly know what are the things I should be procuring, and then how much money I should be sparing to fulfill those commitments, right? So that kind of a operations management they actually do there, right? That's a very small aspect of one teeny many things within the operation side. When I joined Microsoft, I contributed to build something, that product called VSTS, which is Visual Studio's team system, which is into the DevOps section. Like, if you are aware about that. So it's a so the software development also goes through the multiple phases, like, so right from its inception. So it actually somebody then you capture the requirements, then you do the architecture, then you do the development, and there is a testing, and then you do the deployment, and then you find out, okay, there is some changes, and then you make the changes, and then you again go back for the development and testing, and then cycle continues, right? So if you see the multiple versions are getting created and deployed, if the operations are not in place, the actual deployment can be very chaotic, because people don't know which software is being deployed, which needs to be support, and it can be, the situation could be very chaotic kind of a thing. So that is what, like, be it like, my experience with the SAP implementation or the VSTS building is all about the how the operations management and operations management transformation can actually help organization to be to remain ahead in the competition there, right? So when I looked at the same situation in the digital marketing space, I could see there are actually gaps there, right? So within digital marketing, like, there are no such kind of operations management kind of a thing. There are a variety of the things are actually happening in digital marketing space, which is, there is the media side of it, there is a creative side of it, there is a UI UX side of it, there is a lot of data related stuff, and so many things are actually happening. But then there is no operation management kind of a stuff in the digital marketing space. So I thought, like, it could be an opportunity to bring that experience, the previous experience, and apply it here, and that's where we are now today.
Great, that was pretty insightful, Vinay. Thank you for highlighting on your journey and letting our listeners know about it. I think when we are talking about digital transformation, one of the key elements is data. Data is a key to success. We say it pretty often, but yet it never gets old. In fact, data is one thing in today's world that gets more innovative and even more current every day. From sales figures and customer interaction to supply chain operations, employee performance, organization and businesses generate and collect, I think, vast data daily. But
Yeah,
data alone is just not enough. I think it's very important how businesses analyze and interpret data effectively,
yeah,
which can help them to have more meaningful insights, and that kinds of drive more informed decision making, I believe. And I think that's where operational analytics comes into picture. So, we know we have discussed about data analytics and customer analytics. Now, what exactly is operations analytics, and if you can help us understand that, and why is it important for businesses today?
sure. Yeah. So I explain you about, like, the typical ERP operations management kind of a thing, and then the DevOps operation side. Now, before actually getting into this, like, I would like to join me to imagine the situation here in the digital marketing space, how the things are today. Okay, so imagine, like, there is a multi BU kind of a organization, multiple business units are there. So you have soaps, you have healthcare, you have, like, da da da, all that, the multiple BUs. Within that, like, you have the multiple products within that, and then you are running the multiple campaigns there throughout the year. And to run those campaigns, you are using multiple channels, like, be it Facebook or Twitter or DV360 or Google Ads, etc. And then to do all these things, you are using the multiple agencies or partner. Okay, now that's a typical scenario today in the any large brand who is doing the digital marketing thing, right? And then there are specialized agencies there, right? So there is a agencies who are specialized in creative or UI UX analytics there now. Now, for any campaign to go live, like so, the campaign manager or somebody who is owning that campaign has to deal with so many things. Like so first of all, your creative has to be ready, your landing page has to be ready, then your analytics stack has to be ready, your media channels has to be set up properly, be it Facebook or DV360, etc. Right? And after doing that, you can take it up. But then to do that thing, the scenario is the each task is owned by the multiple agencies or multiple partners there. So a lot of time goes into the coordination, right? So it's mainly like ensuring like if the creative is ready, then all the tags are there and the tags are there, and then you go live. So and then with the many other channels and activity getting added to the digital marketing space, uh, the digital marketing itself is getting very complex. Okay, so somebody who is owning this uh, actually wastes too much of time in coordination. Okay, and other side, like the organizations are not giving too many headcounts for the digital market to run the digital marketing there, right? So it's typically, even if the brands are large, the budgets are heavy, you will find like very small team managing the entire show there. Okay, so what is actually then translates into that, like these guys, they typically don't get much time to do any strategic thinking or planning. So for example, if I'm running certain things, the most important thing is like I should analyze how the things are performing. Okay, are my audiences responding, how my creative is working, am I setting the right things there, and then based on that you need to optimize the things like at a multiple levels. Should I continue spending that kind of money, I should stop that. Typically they don't get time at all. It's not like they don't have the ability. They are all very good guys, but then they don't get much time to do all these things. Okay, and these are the the typical challenges in the operations thing. So this entire thing is operations part, and then on top of it, like they don't get time to do that thing, which actually leads to the thinking like why not someone should have the operations management, some kind of a platform to manage such kind of activities.
Yeah, very well said. I think delayed decision making is definitely a must don't when we're talking about managing businesses in any modern landscape. And again, how you're analyzing things and no, I think when you're analyzing how things are performing, that's one part of the story. But again, how you're analyzing things also is another part of story because there are diverse and accurate data sources in terms of operational analytics because they provide more actionable insights. So they ensure that the analysis is based on a comprehensive understanding of the organization's operations and some factors affecting its performance. So when we're utilizing a lot of data sources, we have transaction data, we have sensor data, we have customer interaction. So it helps businesses to have a holistic view of their operations and identify patterns. Again, when we're talking about different, data sources, clubbing all of that data from different sources also becomes one of the challenges in terms of analyzing that data. So I want to understand now, everybody is talking about this comprehensive dashboards and which more provide like a single source of truth for all the data that's coming into it. So, can you help us understand the benefits of these customized dashboards that provides more tailored analytics and business insight?
Yeah, sure. Now, once you have such kind of a the operations management kind of a platform, you then start getting the visibility to the multiple things. Number one is like you don't start your call is like give me the status. You start the discussions asking like these many tasks are pending on you. Okay, when you are likely to complete. Okay, so you know who is doing what task. Okay, what is the, is it done, it is not done, it is in the progress. Okay, so that kind of a stuff that you start getting. So with that, like you can assign the task and then you can start seeing the progress on those parts there, right? And as we imagine the situation there. There is an interdependency of the work, so it helps uh, to the multiple players or multiple teams to understand uh, where the things are. Like, say for example, in case of in our example that we discussed, say somebody who is taking the campaign live on, say, DV360, knows, like, the current status of the creative, right? And then they know, like, how much time they have. Okay. uh, so that is the one aspect of the things there. The other things is also about the budgets, right? So they get to know about, like, what is the exact status of their budgets in hand. In the digital marketing space, typically the agencies raise invoices towards end of the month. Okay. And what happens between, like, first to the last day of the month, uh, the many guys, like, don't get the visibility to that, like, so when you are making a plan, and then when you are actually running the campaign, you don't have, like, how my plan is performing against the actual uh, results, right? So that comparison becomes very handy. The That is very important, because you build that intelligence and that experience to build the next plan, because this plan worked, this didn't work, like, what modification I need to actually do that piece. Okay. So that's a another thing that you get to know. You get to know about, like, how my all my partners and agencies are getting paid, like, so though these guys are actually working, where their invoices, how many people have actually raised their invoices, how many places it has been, the payment has been made, or something is stalled, all those things that you get to know. Suppose, like, you are want to give brief to some four agencies, right? You can, from the tool itself, you can actually send the brief, and then exactly, like, who has responded, who has not responded. You can actually compare the responses, and based on that, you can take the very informed decision about, like, which partner to select. Or for that matter, like, you can compare multiple agencies with each other to understand, like, which agency is, or which partner is more suitable for you for the long term. So such kind of a things, right? They really really help. I'm not actually going into the basic stuff about, like, my the how many leads are coming, how many these are coming, and etc. Those are the basic stuff, which is anyway, which is get covered with so many dashboards. But these are something very very critical for the to run the operations. Even for that matter, the documentation piece, a lot of time, like, once you sign the agreement, the documents are somewhere, like, so you don't know, where these documents are, who are the owners. Here you can actually create the repository for all those things there. Which contract is ending when, so when you need to actually start renegotiating. All those things are very handy to ensure the operations remain very continuous. So these are the very in brief the key benefits any organization can get through such kind of a dashboards. Priya.
Well, yes, and I think with these dashboards, when multiple teams can view or monitor the progress of a specific task simultaneously, I think it boosts the coordination, it boosts communication across different levels of the organization. And of course, with all of these coming into picture, you're taking more accurate decisions and more timely decisions, which is very important when we are dealing with large scale business operations. So, imagine if you're running a product oriented business and your sales are plummeting. So, I think without operational analytics and such dashboards, it might feel like we are groping in the dark and we're desperately trying to figure out what's going wrong. But with these analytics coming into picture, we can dig into the data, discover that sales are down because the engagements have shifted. Customers now prefer different kinds of products. So it becomes easy for businesses to quickly adapt your product or features and even marketing strategies that can help them turn the situation around. So having said that, like, can you share some specific examples or case studies where operational analytics has significantly benefited your company or your clients?
So I think I can give one example. Like, the our customer is into the BFSI sector. and they have some 11 business units. Okay, and there are around 8 agencies working with them. They are working with somewhere around 70 to 80 publishers, okay, directly, uh, and couple of like direct e-com players there, right? So that kind of a setup, and then plus, so when we say this 11 views, there are few products within that, uh, in each view kind of a thing. Now, to get the view for a say CFO, where exactly their spends are, and what are the returns of my investment so far. It used to take at least a month for the chief digital manager or the CFOs while they're reviewing the thing. Right, so that's a typical thing. So because actually start collating the data from the campaign level to the product level to the BU level, then add up those, and then say okay for say today, say we are on in the end of the August, and then uh, uh, so it takes like so many days to collect this data to build a report for July. Okay, so 3 to 4 weeks of time goes into collating the whole thing and telling exactly the what actually operationally things happen. Okay, so how much money you have given to me, how much I have actually spent, on whom I have spent, to whom actually people got paid, how many people not got paid, what kind of the leads we got. Okay, how many of them are getting converted, that kind of a thing typically takes like it used to take like at least 4 weeks for them. So typically sitting at the end of the July, they were discussing like how we done the July. Okay, now that is something is completely a miss opportunity for entire August, because the entire, so you then based on that you start planning what should be we need to be doing next. So that's a very clearly the loss of business. So with the Digiverse, which is our operations management tool that we actually built, it's actually helped them to cut down that entire time to just 5 days. Okay, so now once the August is over, they will be just sitting on a 5th of September to review the things. Okay, so that kind of the productivity benefits they start getting. Plus the lot of processes actually got implemented through all these things, because most of the time the digital marketing is without the processes there. So or the processes are there but they're not that followed there. So tool actually help them to they follow the processes also. Because now there is a process and there is a tool that started getting the very good data there, right? So to tell you, in this particular case, number one, the entire review cycle got shrunk. Like I think they must be saving somewhere around 1,800 hours per month. The kind of a time they must be they used to spend to get that thing. Now they're actually using all that time to do the strategic thinking. Plus they started saving a lot of the media spend, like because earlier, because there was no strategic thinking, like the media plans were a bit little random or little delayed kind of a thing. So now there's a good the media savings there. A lot of good coordination started happening through the task management across the multiple players on roles within the organization. So so that's how uh, the very prominent example I could share with you.
Great, Vinay. I think that was pretty remarkable in terms of how your solutions have helped your client in the BFSI sector, and it's so important in terms of reducing the number of your hours and also increasing the efficiency of a business. It is very important and vital to have that edge in today's world. But I think when we're talking about data and data analytics, the data volumes are also rising year after year. And it's very prominent in industries like the banking, the use case that you mentioned was some BFSI sector, so banking, healthcare, all of these, it becomes very challenging for enterprises that are seeking to streamline and equip their organization with data analytics capabilities. So, owing to multiple data formats, you have offline data, you have customer calls, you have digital channels. Again, on digital, you have website, you have apps, and you have third-party websites. So, there's a lot of data sources, and some of them are very intricate as well. So that way, I think companies are overwhelmed with these vast quantities of information on a daily basis. And when you're extracting insights from this ocean of data, I think it requires a lot of robust infrastructure, some advanced analytics tools, and also some fast-paced data processing capabilities. So,
Yeah.
I want to understand from you, Vinay, what are some of the challenges that you think are prominent in terms of how organizations are leveraging operations analytics capabilities?
Yeah, very, very well said, Priya. I think good question here. So, yeah, very, very rightly mentioned, right? There are multiple data sources and they are into various forms and shapes, and getting that data is a challenge there, right now. So, typical challenges there. One is, one piece that you mentioned is a technical challenge here, right? Which is like how I can get that data in my requisite format. Okay. The other technical challenge there is the getting that data in a very mapped format, like the triangulation of data that we call it. So what it means, like that data should not be the dump yard. It should be the meaningful data, which is, so suppose there is the data sitting there, they should know in digital marketing that this was my campaign, this is what that click was, this is what that lead field, this is what, like the same thing got to the call center, this is what is into now the CRM. So that relation has to be maintained and should go there in that data lake, or that data warehouse. Okay, which is the other piece of it. Like number one, which I said, is the getting that data, connecting and then sourcing it there, and the triangulation of that data, mapping of data. That's a second part. Now the other aspect of the technical side, which is because now we taken the example of BFSI and some of the similar kind of industries, the laws are or the compliance laws are little stringent. So typically they would like to have the data within their premises. Okay, so those are some compliance side of it, like you cannot have the data outside their organization. So that's another piece. You might have, like very good solution, but it should reside in their premise. Okay, so that's a compliance side of it. But these are the things pretty much I would say manageable kind of a thing. The other aspect of the challenges is actually the getting the buy-in of the various roles within the organization. There are multiple roles who are touched by this, and they need to be equally involved into this. So for example, the benefit of all these things that we are talking about, the BU heads, the marketing heads, they are getting the benefit out of it. Maybe CFOs are getting benefit out of it. But at the same time, the entire solution has to reside in their premise, which means their IT and info security and other guys also comes into the picture. So the getting everybody together and driving that piece is one hell lot of challenge. Like typically, they all will have their own priorities, and getting that thing together is bit challenging, right? So that's what, like the one aspect of the entire thing. So technical piece, and then the other is the getting everybody's mind and getting everybody together there. That actually leads to the other things, important aspect of the operations side, wherein, like if you look at, like the organizations are thinking about the transformations and everything there, and then operations is the one which actually touched upon can transform the organizations. However, like if you look at this aspect of digital marketing is not getting that kind of attention from the top management. This is typical thing. Maybe they are thinking like it could be taken care by somewhere else, but then their attention is also not much in this aspect of the uh, digital marketing, the operations management of the digital marketing. And maybe that the reason could be that getting that buying and then putting everybody together is a little challenging. So these are the typical challenges to implement such kind of a solutions, Priya.
Yes, Vinay, I think the challenges that you mentioned are pretty much prominent across different industries in terms of leveraging, these data analytics capabilities across the organization. And I think I've been talking to a lot of experts, and many of the experts also feel the same that these challenges kind of hinder the adoption rate as well in terms of how we are adopting these technologies. Um, but overall, I think slowly and gradually, businesses and organization would definitely move towards that path and gradually embrace these technologies. But one last question for you, Vinay. How do you think, or do you predict any such particular trends that might take place in the coming years in the field of operations analytics?
Yeah, Priya, I think it's as you very rightly mentioned, like it is slowly started getting some attention there. So we foresee such kind of a things coming into the place. People are actually thinking about like building the operations management in the digital marketing space there. The way the things might shape up in the future is with a lot of AI things coming into the picture, because now you have because now you are managing the operations, and because of that, like you have tons of data available there now, and that data is not like the dumb data, but very mapped data available there. So with that data, the you can start predicting the things there, right? And then you can start predicting thing at a very specific level. So which means like you can specifically ask like how my particular agency A will behave in coming month or coming years, kind of a thing. Because if they are performing this way, you can actually check like how they will perform in the future there, typically. Or it could be the very large scale kind of a thing, is like suppose if say suppose if I want to have 10,000 leads in last quarter of the year, what should be my budget and what should be my channel mix, you know that kind of a thing can be answered with this data. Or if to achieve certain kind of a things, maybe what kind of a which agencies I should be working with, okay, or what creative actually can perform better than other, right? So because now you have the behavioral trend available with you, you can start having such kind of a decision with the help of AI there, and that can play a very significant role in the future.
Well, yes, I completely agree with you, Vinay. And I think if I want to wrap up, I would say that operational analytics is like having a superpower that lets you peek into the hidden world of data and uncover insights that can supercharge your business operations. So it's more like having a crystal ball. But instead of predicting the future, it can help you understand the present and helps you foster data-driven decision making and making sure that your entire business is running like a very well-oiled machine. So you can, it's more like you can deal with the complex challenges of business operation while confidently making your decisions worthwhile, I would say. Well, thank you so much, Vinay. It was a pleasure having you with us. I think we explored some different perspectives around operational analytics, its significance, and also some of the trends that might shape the future of operational analytics.
Yeah, same here, Priya. Thank you so much for inviting me, and it was a pleasure talking to you. Thanks for this opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Vinay. So, this is for our listeners. Stay tuned for our upcoming podcast, and you can view all our previous podcasts on Spotify and other leading platforms. Thank you so much.